Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 103 based on novel. So let's start. With you in this life, what can I ask for? He opened his eyes slightly, as if speaking silently. Qingmu, from the first day I saw you, I fell in love with you. If we don't die, it would be nice to marry me. Shen Wan said a little bitterly, and there was a slight expression on his face. Smile like a gentleman. Okay. The beautiful eyes moved slightly, seemingly casually speaking, but it made Shen Wan's heart viciously shake, because Shen Wan knew that no matter the background, status and strength behind the eyes, it was the same. Not within reach. So, you can't die. For a moment, a dignified look appeared in his pupils. I know, don't worry, although I have burned my life force for nearly 50 years, I won't die. Hearing the words, his brows trembled suddenly. Burning 50 years of life, this is extraordinary. Although the lifespan of a strong Dodi is quite high, these 50 years are not a small number. However, he didn't struggle with his eyes, and let Shen Wan gently hug him. On the shoulders of Leaning Eyes, a smooth palm slowly wrapped around her shoulders, and a trace of warmth flowed into Shen Wan's heart. You can't die. A smile emerged beside Qingmu Yue, and then Shen Wan's palm slightly moved down, directly down Qingmu's shoulder, and lightly tapped it somewhere. At this point, the dazzling ray of light on Qingmu's body was instantly extinguished, and the fighting spirit in his body instantly contracted, in exchange for the stunned look on his face. You. Qingmu said with some difficulty. The next moment, a trace of vindictiveness emanated from Shen Wan's body and sent Qingmu back directly. Sister Shin, take good care of her for me. A rebellious voice suddenly came to the ears of several members of the Dragon-Loving Legion. Although Shen Wan is the youngest and weakest of our Dragon-Loving Legion, his strength is obvious to all of you. This time, let's take a gamble and believe him. The corners of Yao Xin's eyes clearly flickered. Heartache, he said immediately. But if that's the case, can Shen Wan bear it? Fan Yu said with some difficulty. Isn't that the way he should go? He shook his head before speaking, without saying anything. This Shen Wan really has twists and turns. Shen Mo on the side said a little uncomfortable. Prepare, we only have a chance to strike. We must break the black barrier immediately. The task of breaking the barrier will be handed over to you. After breaking the barrier, I will teleport immediately, and we must go back road. It's too late to say it. Above the sky, after facing the death ray burst from Lequan's hand, Qin Tian frowned. The soul-shattering card should not look like this. Is there something wrong? Apparently facing the dark death ray, Qin Tian also noticed something was wrong. Although he hesitated, Qin Tian did not stop in his hands. After all, Lequan's offensive should not be underestimated. Boom boom boom. The terrifying flame instantly condensed in his hand, and an extremely hot flame energy ball appeared instantly. Go. Qin Tian drank abruptly. The energy ball containing the power of terrifying flames in his hand instantly disappeared towards the dark black death ray. Bang bang bang. The next moment, the two suddenly hit each other, and terrifying death ripples continued to emerge from the center of the explosion. Damn it, go back. Song Li and Yong Wei obviously already had other thoughts in their minds, and immediately said, Will we do this? Song Li asked worriedly. After all, Lequan was their Solomon's three masters. Song Li, if you want to succeed, this Lequan must. After Yong Wei finished speaking, he drew a few strokes towards his neck, and a sinister wave spread throughout Yang Wei's body. I see. Song Li nodded immediately after hearing this, and then both of them nodded. The next moment, a mouthful of blood suddenly spewed out of the two mouths. According to the opportunity, the two said in unison. What a terrifying fluctuation. Yaroshin took the look, and then several people stepped back and came to the ground, completely ignoring the two Song Li. Prepare. The core came to the ground and said to a few people around him. As soon as the words fell, Fan Yu and Xuanmo suddenly stimulated the last remaining traces of vindictiveness in their bodies, and they continued to gather on Yaroshin. At that time, Yao Xin's vindictiveness and soul power returned at an extremely terrifying speed. Right. In a few breaths, the aftermath in the sky has slowly dissipated, but there are still traces of flame and black gas in the air. Although the two are extremely small, they contain frightening fluctuations. Go to hell. The next moment, on Lequan's bizarre palm, a strange, boxy object suddenly appeared, and then suddenly roared towards Qin Tian. At that time, a chilling air filled the entire sky, causing the people on the ground to feel slightly chilled. Is it the soul-shattering card? Qin Tian's pupils flashed a fiery red color, and then he was slightly surprised. On the strange boxy object in Lequan's hand, a broken word slowly appeared, and then in this space shrouded in black, all the black energy suddenly went towards the broken soul card. Soul-shattering card. Fall down, Qin Tian. Lequan shouted loudly. The chilling meaning in his voice became more terrifying. You want our head to die? Just as Qin Tian was about to give his all, a familiar voice came from behind Qin Tian. Qin Tian turned his eyes away. His eyes were dull, obviously because of his concentration just now. He didn't know that Shen Wan had come behind him. This fluctuation. Could it be? Qin Tian asked in surprise. The Dragon-Loving Legion has a full 10 people, and each of them has their own special place before they can be absorbed into the Dragon-Loving Legion's drug core. The use of soul power, in exploring this aspect, has a unique advantage. As for the characteristics of Shen Wan, it is strange to say, because the characteristic of Shen Wan is that it becomes virtual. As the name suggests, this illusion is to make a certain person or an object with life illusory for 1 second at a specific time, through Shen Wan's innate special means. To say that it is illusory, it would be better to say that it is invincible. Because in this second of blurring, whether it's a battle chi attack or a soul attack, it's all ineffective. Don't look at it for just 1 second, but it can do a lot. Head, don't worry. Shen Wan drank coldly, facing Qin Tiandao with a rare gratification in his voice. Wan Shin. Qin Tian casually glanced at the few people below, and found that they were all too weak. He nodded slightly, and then suddenly drank it, as if he had a plan in his heart. What are you doing? Lequan seemed to have discovered that Shen Wan was burning his own vitality, but he didn't care too much, because the vitality that Shen Wan was burning was not too much, so there was no surge in strength, nor was he too attracted to Lequan. Care more. It's just that at this moment, Shen Wan had a rather strange gesture in his hand, and the corners of his mouth were constantly muttering something, and a rather mysterious wave slowly appeared all over his body. Go. Lequan doesn't care what the Shen Wan and Qin Tian are up to, because Lequan regards the boxy soul-shattering cards in his hand as something condensed by the power of ghosts and immortals. So Lequan has enough confidence that when the soul-shattering card comes out, he instantly kills Qin Tian. Boom boom boom. As Lequan's voice just fell, the square black beam of light in his hand shook suddenly, and then turned into a black air mass about several meters in size. The black air mass slowly formed, but among them, a very eye-catching word shattered suddenly appeared. With the condensing and forming of this soul-shattering card, a chill poured into everyone's hearts in the enchantment that was already shrouded in black enchantment at this time. The next moment, the soul-shattering card suddenly eroded away towards Qin Tian with a burst of extremely strong ghost energy. Although the momentum is small, the power contained in the black air mass of the soul-shattering card, even Qin Tian, feels a little weak. As expected, it's a soul-shattering card. It can lock me. I'm afraid I'll be hit by it wherever I run. Qin Tian sighed slowly. Even if he was separated by a few hundred meters, he could still get away from it. A death-like wave was felt in the black air mass of the soul-shattering card. If you are really hit by this broken soul card, I am afraid that your strength at the peak of Do Di will instantly dissipate your soul, and you will fall here in the true sense. If it wasn't for the fact that our Dragon-Loving Legion was full of scars this time, in order to save our strength and deal with the Medusa family, you Lequan would have died 10 times. Qin Tian faced the broken soul card with a wave of death. Without any trace of fear, he spoke slowly. Isn't Qin Tian giving up resistance? The moment Lequan left the soul-shattering card, he had already mobilized most of the power in his body, so now Lequan is sure about the soul-shattering card. Strong enough to kill Do Di's peak, not to mention that Qin Tian's strength is less than half of his peak. After Lequan thought for a while, there was no result, so Liu gave up thinking and stared directly at Qin Tian in front of him. At this moment, wherever the ray of light from the shattered soul card went, ghosts wailed everywhere, causing countless gloomy ghosts to permeate this enchantment. On the other hand, Qin Tian still looked at Lequan as if nothing had happened, and did not take the broken soul card in his eyes at all, but a fiery red appeared in his pupils. On the contrary, Shen Wan, who was not far behind Qin Tian, was rapidly changing the handprints in his hands, and strange and mysterious runes continued to appear all over his body. Qin Tian, you are still so arrogant when you are about to die. Don't worry, I'll leave you a whole body. Ha ha ha. Lequan laughed strangely. The next moment, the broken soul card seemed to be locked on Qin Tian. When it came to Qin Tian for several dozen meters, the speed suddenly increased, and the black air mass suddenly opened a huge gap, as if it wanted to give Qin Tian an instant. Devour in general. Virtualization. A harsh voice echoed in this enchantment, and then in the broken soul card, the power of execution of immortals just pierced through Qin Tian's body. It seems that Qin Tian at this time is just a phantom, not a real body at all. How is that possible? Lequan's pupils clenched tightly, and a wave of fear poured into his heart. This broken soul card is the hand of the ghosts of the ghost world. Once the broken soul card is released, not to mention the powerhouse at the peak of the Do Emperor, even the powerhouse at the half-immortal level can only fall sadly. This is also why Lequan can challenge and kill Zhu Jin with confidence by relying on his strength of rank 3 9-star Do D. How could this be possible? Doesn't it feel incredible? The next moment, the broken soul card penetrated directly, then turned into a white mist, and instantly disappeared into the enchantment. Although the soul-shattering card was terrifying, it was only a one-time thing after all. Once Qin Tian avoided it by strange means, it naturally lost its energy and disappeared. Then let me tell you, Lequan, today is your day of death. Qin Tian suddenly drank, and a shocking fiery red flame spewed out of his body. Fire Dragon Roar. With an angry shout, Qin Tian tapped the soles of his feet on the ground, and suddenly leveraged his strength to transform into a fire dragon. Qin Tian was in the mouth of the fire dragon and attacked Lequan, who was still in surprise. Asshole. How can this happen? This is something of a ghost, it doesn't claim to have the power to kill half-immortals, how can it be? Lequan said in a very puzzled way. Obviously he didn't understand why his soul-shattering card failed. Boom boom boom. In the next second, Qin Tian suddenly came to Lequan's side, making Lequan have to guard against it. Humph. With a cold snort, the monstrous black energy poured into Lequan's body, and then Qin Tian's seemingly terrifying blow was instantly blocked. Being strong from the outside and working hard at the same time, it seems that Qin Tian, you are at the end. Although Lequan didn't know why the soul-shattering card passed directly through Qin Tian, at the moment, it was too late to think too much, so he had to fight well. It's just that Lequan at this time didn't see the ground at all, but the medicine core slowly opened up an extremely small crack behind here. As for Song Li and Yong Wei, a trace of blood flowed from the corners of their mouths, and then they stared at the battle in the sky. Ha ha ha, is that so? At the next moment, Qin Tian laughed loudly, and then the figure quickly moved away from Lequan, and above his body, a silver light was slowly exuding. Silver light? Space transfer? Lequan's eyes narrowed, and suddenly realized something was wrong. Lequan, there will be an appointment in the future. Today's account, my Shenling royal family will definitely recover it in the future. Qin Tian finished speaking, his figure flickered strangely, and then disappeared into this black enchantment. Soul attack. A cold snort came out, making Lequan have to guard against it. Bastard. Lequan just wanted to stop Qin Tian, but was stopped by the sudden blow from the medicine core. The next moment, Qin Tian's group disappeared without a trace, and even the rift that escaped was closed again. The next moment, Lequan seemed to find that there were two cold, malicious eyes directed at him. Song Li. Yong Wei. What are you doing? Let the two of you stop those dragon-loving legionaries, you can't stop them, you're really trash. A displeased voice appeared from Lequan's mouth, and Lequan returned to his youthful appearance again. He, 3 sect masters, after all, you look at a few people who are also from the dragon-loving legion. Our strength is limited. Just as Song Li was about to speak, Yong Wei pulled Song Li directly and immediately said, "Forget it, you two do your best, and forgive you this time. Let's go." Lequan said slowly, just about to leave the black barrier. Sect Master, wait a minute, there is something I want to borrow from the Sect Master, but I don't know if it is feasible. The corner of Yong Wei's mouth rose, revealing a dangerous smile. Oh, what? Tell me. Lequan turned his head and looked at Yong Wei, who was smiling. That thing is 3 Sect Master, your power. After Yong Wei finished speaking, his breath suddenly soared, and he launched a terrifying offensive. Bastard. Lequan snorted loudly, and the voice of dissatisfaction spread throughout the entire black barrier. Song Li, Yong Wei, are you crazy? Lequan dodged Yong Wei's terrifying blow, and then said in surprise. Where is it, the Sect Master? We have been serving you for so many years, you should be down. Yong Wei said slowly, but his voice was extremely strange. Even if I die, how will the two of you be distributed? Lequan heard the words, and he said slyly. You don't have to worry about it. Yong Wei said coldly, because Yong Wei found that Lequan's voice had just fallen, and Song Li on the side was obviously hesitant. Ha ha ha. Just because the two of you want to eat me? It's too stupid to talk about a dream. It happens that I also lack some power now. If I absorb the power of the two of you, I can't say that I can be promoted a lot. At the end, Lequan made a very hideous voice. Song Li, don't be frightened by him. This Lequan is now a force from the outside. Yong Wei seemed to have seen through the strangeness of Lequan, and immediately said, strong outside and working in the middle? How do you say this? Song Li's eyes narrowed slightly. The soul-shattering card is not something that anyone can use. This Lequan is only the strength of the third-ranking 9-star Dodi. He just used the soul-shattering card. I am afraid that nearly 70% of the power in his body will be twitched. In addition to this enchantment, the ghostly energy in it has just turned into a terrifying scene, although I don't know why it was avoided by Qin Tian. Yong Wei analyzed. Kill. A greedy voice slowly emerged from Song Li's mouth. Quick fight and quick decision. As for Lequan's strength, we'll talk about it at the end. Yong Wei nodded slightly. Do it. The next moment, Song Li's aura suddenly soared, and in a short time, his strength soared to the level of a perfect 8-star Do Emperor. Beast. Lequan, who was standing above the sky, shouted angrily, but a weak feeling spread throughout his body. Sure enough. Yong Wei was overjoyed when he saw it. Lequan, take me for a move. Song Li's killing intent emerged, and then he suddenly shot at Lequan above the sky. That's really stupid. Seeing that Song Li was fooled, Yong Wei said in his heart, but Yong Wei didn't attack Lequan directly, because Yong Wei knew that even though Lequan was at the end of his shot, he still understood the fact that a dead camel was bigger than a horse. With the strength of your mere 8-star Dodi? Lequan said with disdain, and then he forcibly suppressed the weakness in his body, and then absorbed the ghost energy in the black barrier, constantly replenishing his body. The extremely dark ghosts gathered madly towards Lequan. Tear the ghost hand. With a loud shout, Song Li's somewhat dark black energy suddenly condensed into a huge hand. He smashed it viciously at Lequan. Boom boom boom. The huge black palm attacked Lequan frantically, but when it was 3 feet away from Lequan, it stopped strangely, as if it was caused by a rather strange force. Go away. Lequan said gloomily. As soon as the voice fell, an extremely powerful ghost energy spread out. Affected by the black air ripples, Song Li actually spit out a mouthful of blood. Bastard, how can Lequan have such terrifying power? Song Li wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then stared at Lequan above the sky. Go to hell. Lequan stared fiercely at Song Li, a murderous intent emerged, and then the dazzling ghosts around him frantically attacked Song Li. Not good. Song Li secretly said, then his speed skyrocketed and he ran away. Because of his intuition, Song Li knew that if he was hit by Lequan, he would have to drag a layer of skin if he didn't die. Just as Lequan was concentrating on attacking Song Li, on the ground beside him, an incomparably evil voice slowly spread through the black barrier. Lequan, it's over. Destroy. A cold snort spread across this black barrier. As soon as Yong Wei's voice fell, a dazzling black light slowly appeared in his body, and then the speed skyrocketed, with the power of death, crashing into Lequan. Boom boom boom. A wave of terrifying black ripples continued to emanate from the space where Lequan was. The next moment, this space shrouded in black was instantly shattered because it couldn't bear such terrifying fluctuations. What kind of power are you? Impossible. How could you? The next moment, a wave of fear poured into Lequan's face. It's over, Yong Wei said slowly. After speaking, he moved his figure and grabbed Lequan with both hands. As the black barrier shattered, the news that Lequan was besieged by Song Li was naturally known to the Medusa clan. Sir, what should we do now? In the underground palace, Shifu Weiwei was in the first place, replacing the blue and white snake's original position. Don't worry, you all take turns to be optimistic about the Temple of Medusa, and if there is any trouble, report it immediately. I will retreat to heal the wounds of Qinghua Snake and Qingyang. After Shifu finished speaking, he slowly disappeared into the huge underground palace, leaving the leaders of the 9 major tribes to look at each other. Let's take a step by step. The 9 leaders naturally knew that this blue and white snake was cultivated by Shifu, and now Shifu is also slightly heartbroken. Shen Wan, are you alright? After Qin Tian and his group escaped from the Desert of Death, they also returned to the Shenling royal family by relying on the transmission of the soul power of the medicine core. I'm fine. Shen Wan opened his mouth slightly, the corners of his mouth were very pale, obviously the consumption just now almost consumed Shenling Xin's energy. It's fine, we're back. Qing Mubei bit her lips slightly, and said with a little heartache. Pass my order down. The whole city is under martial law. After Qin Tian finished speaking, he led a group of people from the dragon-loving legion to retreat. Obviously, if there were no means to save lives this time, it would have been a heavy loss. In the Xianling royal family auction house, a scantily clad woman said slowly, "It seems that the Xianling royal family should have succeeded. I really underestimated this dragon-loving legion." It was Bloodrose who spoke, but at this time, an extremely strong ghostly energy appeared on Bloodrose, which was extremely terrifying. "Hey, I really don't know what happened to those little guys. I remember Yang Kai said that there seems to be something of his kind in the desert area, but that desert area has various restrictions, plus the deep Medusa, the depths of the family, so few people go. I hope these little guys will make great progress when they come back this time." In the depths of the desert, Laroju slowly opened his mouth. "Forget it, let's go back first. The Xianling royal family is actually thinking like this. It seems that the plan to save Yang Kai must be advanced, otherwise once the Xianling emperor and a few people succeed, then it will really." Zhu Laro finished speaking and disappeared instantly. The scorching sun was scorching hot, and a single sun shone on the sky, making the already scorching desert of death even hotter. "Xiao Yang, you said that there is something in this desert area that can actually make these Tang Tang people so fascinated. And in the end, the Bloodblade mercenary group was able to abandon the desert area. I'm afraid the treasure in the Medusa temple is even more." Mu Feng said curiously. "I don't know what's inside the Medusa temple, but what I do know is what's inside. I'm afraid Qin Tian at the peak of Dodi has only one way to die," Xiao Yang said in a low voice. When several people heard the words, they immediately kept their mouths shut. Obviously, Xiao Yang, who has an extremely powerful soul perception ability, said so, and everyone had to let go of their guesses. "Don't worry about it for now, let's go into the desert first. After all, Laroju sent us here to experience this time, there must be a reason for him." Xiao Yang saw that several people were silent, and immediately said slowly, "Let's go." Mu Yingying's lips moved, breaking the awkward situation. Everyone followed the directions given by Tang Tang before. The entrance to this desert area is very strange. It was still here just now, why is it gone now? After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he glanced at the people around him and found that there was nothing unusual, and then said, "Where?" The next moment, Xiao Yang suddenly saw a wriggling desert above the desert, and immediately drank it. The desert here is creeping slowly, like flowing water. It is the entrance to the desert land that Tang Tang said. "There are too many strong people here, let's take advantage of them to fight and go." Xiao Yang no longer hesitated, and directly penetrated the entrance of that strange desert. When the four people next to him heard the words, their eyes sank, and they jumped inside. The next moment, the wriggling desert closed instantly. At this time, it was calm again. Just as Xiao Yang and the others passed through the wriggling desert entrance, they felt an extremely frightening wave spread from below. Passing through the entrance of the creeping desert area, several people came to a rather strange place. This place should be a passage leading to the desert area. Xiao Yang's whole body exuded milky white flames, which instantly lit up the space here, and found that the surroundings here were pitch black, and it was almost as if he could not reach out his fingers. The terrifying flames slowly left a trace of extremely small flames behind Xiao Yang, but Xiao Yang and the others did not pay attention. "It always feels like something is wrong. Speed up, it should be coming soon." As she went deeper and deeper, Xiao Yi, who had always been taciturn, glanced at some flames behind her, then shook her head and said, "Yes." Several people responded one after another, because they knew that this desert area is not a simple place, it is a place where life and death go hand in hand. "Yep. Be careful." The next moment, following Xiao Yang's exclamation, a large group of unknown creatures suddenly emerged from the darkness. On the surrounding walls, "Be careful." Xiao Yi spoke first. At this time, 5 rays of light of different colors appeared on Xiao Yang's 5 people, and then a large group of mysterious creatures appeared at a distance of several hundred meters in front of the. Those creatures are covered in darkness, even Xiao Yang's powerful soul power can't detect what they are, but one thing is certain, there are quite a few of these creatures. "Destroy." Xiao Yang felt anxious when he saw it, and then said softly, instantly suppressing the flames on his body and the light on the others. It's just that this is the case, there are still some rays of light behind several people, especially Xiao Yang's flames are the most obvious. The next moment, he took the people around him and headed in the opposite direction. A strange voice suddenly came from Xiao Yang's front feet. Everyone couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, but the space where they were originally collapsed instantly after these strange creatures passed by. Those remaining flames were instantly swallowed up by these mysterious creatures. What? Mu Yingying spoke first. Her voice was full of doubts. Obviously she also noticed those creatures that appeared suddenly, but before she had time to react, it was driven by Xiao Yang. I don't know what it is, but the number is terrifying. And I vaguely discovered that these things seem to be looking for something. Xiao Yang said softly to the people around him. This should be a dark bat. Mu Feng, who was beside him, suddenly said. Dark bat. Green Flute seemed to have recovered, looking at the dark passage. Dark bats, born in the darkness, love darkness the most. It is said that they have the terrifying power to destroy space, and they cannot see any light. Once any light appears in their lair, they will swarm out. The entrance to this desert area should be full of dark bats, and according to my perception feedback, the number is probably extremely terrifying. Mu Feng lowered his voice slightly, trying to keep his voice as low as possible to avoid being discovered by these strange creatures. Destroy the space. It's not enough. Why do I think I like flames? Xiao Yang was surprised when he heard the words, but only thought a little. Obviously, this Mu Feng has a mysterious cultivation technique, so in this darkness, Mu Feng's perception is stronger than Xiao Yang, which Xiao Yang also admits, but Xiao Yang still feels rather strange about the fact that this dark bat loves flames. As we all know, bats are naturally cold, almost like the Medusa family. They have a natural fear of or have a natural fear of it, so how could they love flames? Forget it, let's bypass them. After a short thought, Xiao Yang also made a decision. After all, this is just the beginning. Although the number of these dark bats is quite large, Xiao Yang has if the 5 of them want to be wiped out completely, it will take a lot of effort, but who would do such a thing for no reason? Let's go, keep your movements small. The next moment, Xiao Yang finished speaking, and raised his palms, gently pulling Mu Yingying and Xiao Yi. A few people next to them saw it, and they followed suit, because they also knew that there were 9 perilous dangers here. It's so warm. Mu Yingying's jade hand was just pulled by Xiao Yang, and her delicate body suddenly shook, and then a broad palm directly held Mu Yingying's slender jade hand. The next moment, Mu Yingying originally wanted to struggle, but after thinking about the current situation, she did not do anything. But at this moment, a warm warmth slipped into Mu Yingying's body from Xiao Yang's palm. Above. Let's go. After Xiao Yang finished, he slowly led a few people forward. As for the dark bat, after swallowing up the flames left by Xiao Yang because of the lighting, it perched around the passage. This dark bat seems a bit strange. Long Yi, who was on the ancient ruler of Yihua Heng on Xiao Yang's body, also said slightly. It's just that what Xiao Yang didn't notice at this time was that Fen Ju, the deepest part of his body, suddenly flashed a strange light, and it was fleeting. Strange, why does this passage go farther and farther? It feels like it's endless. The few people walked not too far, and Mu Feng opened his mouth, with an air of surprise in his voice. This is. Xiao Yang was paying attention to those dark bats along the way, but he didn't find anything. After those dark bats devoured the flames left by Xiao Yang, their volumes clearly collided several times, and then they seemed to be in a hurry. Inhabit the darkness. This place should be like a cave. Xiao Yang walked ahead along the pitch-black passage. He had a huge sense of soul, but he did not provoke the dark bats that perched above the cave, although Xiao Yang was not afraid. Hearing the words, several people nodded, trying their best to suppress their vindictiveness, and then followed Xiao Yang with light footsteps. Tick-tock. The sound of dripping water came continuously from the depths of the cave, and then shook everyone's heart. A few people walked for about 5 minutes, and a little light appeared, and then they didn't panic at all, and walked forward slowly. Just after leaving the dark passage, a rather strange place appeared in front of everyone. What appeared in front of the 5 people was an extremely huge stone statue giant. Behind the stone statue giant was the passage. At this time, the huge body of the stone statue giant seemed to directly block the road ahead. Xiao Yang was slightly surprised when he saw it, then glanced behind him and found that there was no problem, and immediately put all his attention on the giant stone statue. The powerful soul power instantly spread over the quaint body of the giant stone statue. There is nothing strange about the quaint stone statue, but the blue and red pupils are the most attractive. Stone statue? No vitality? Mu Yingying murmured, then frowned. No, this thing definitely has its purpose here. Xiao Yang said slightly. Yes, since this giant stone statue is blocking our way forward, it must have a secret. Xiao Yi also agreed. Everyone looked for them separately. Is there any mechanism or something? Mu Feng never opened his mouth. Ever since he entered this small space, he has been staring at the giant stone statue. When the few people heard the words, they immediately spread out, but the space here is extremely small. Except for the stone giant, which will be 10 meters tall, there are no other decorations, and most of the surrounding areas are indestructible. Rock. Mu Feng, what did you find? The other three went separately to find out if there was any mechanism here, but Xiao Yang and Mu Feng did not move, and then Xiao Yang said, "This thing seems to be really a trap. It can't be opened by brute force alone." Mu Feng glanced at Xiao Yang and then at the giant stone statue blocking the road, and spoke slowly. "What's the mechanism?" Xiao Yang was slightly surprised. Obviously, with his huge soul power, Xiao Yang knew that if there was no real fighting immortal powerhouse, no one would be able to open the defense of this giant stone statue. Even if Xiao Yang tried his best now, he might not be able to open it, so Xiao Yang began to hesitate. No. Xiao Yi and the others looked around to no avail. This space is only 180 meters in radius, the size of a room, so all the movements can be seen. This thing is a little troublesome. Xiao Yang slowly came to the side of the giant stone statue, always looking around vigilantly. "Xiao Yang, can you try it with your fire?" The next moment, Mu Feng, who seemed to be thinking about something, suddenly said, "Fire!" Xiao Yang was slightly surprised, but the white palm slowly lifted up. The next moment, following Xiao Yang's mind, a terrifying flame containing 23 colors was born from his fingertip. The flame seemed to have vitality as it slowly beat on Xiao Yang's palm. "Go!" Xiao Yang moved extremely slowly raising his palm over his chest, and immediately at the foot of the giant stone statue, the next moment, a little flame entangled directly up. With a sound, the flames on Xiao Yang's fingertips were entangled at the feet of the giant stone statue, and disappeared instantly like air evaporated. Xiao Yang asked in confusion. Obviously this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. You must know that Xiao Yang's current flame is a combination of 23 new flames, and its power is not comparable to yours on the Dochi continent. Such a terrifying flame was instantly vaporized by this giant stone statue. "It's incredible. It seems that what I expected was right," Mu Feng said with a slight smile. Looking at his appearance, it seemed that he had found a solution. "What?" Xiao Yi asked in confusion. "It seems that this giant stone statue has something to do with flames. If we want to crack this level, I'm afraid we will need a lot of flame power," Mu Feng said. "The power of flames?" When Xiao Yi heard the words, she immediately remembered something, but she didn't say anything, but she said something in her mouth, "That dark bat. With the power of flame, Xiao Yang and I should be able to add Xiao Yi." Mu Yingying's lips moved slightly. "No, this is just the outermost part of the desert. If we use too much power, I'm afraid we won't be able to enter it, and as far as I know, this strange stone giant, even if the power of flame can be deciphered, I am afraid that the power of flame we need the force is enough to us dry," Xiao Yang said solemnly. Also, Mu Feng heard the words and had no choice, because what Mu Feng thought of just now was to combine the flame power of Mu Yingying, Xiao Yi and Xiao Yang to destroy this giant stone statue, but forgot to consider this most fundamental issue. The power of fire. I have a way, I don't know if it's feasible. Xiao Yi on the side opened his mouth slightly, with some other flavors in his voice. "What can I do?" The green flute on the side didn't speak for a long time. After all, the temperature environment here is still a little overwhelming for the snake people who naturally like dampness. In that dark bat body, there should be a lot of flame power. And I just found out that the number of these dark bats is extremely large. If we can motivate them, we can destroy this giant stone statue with a lot of effort. Xiao Yidao, there was a smile on his handsome face. "A dark bat?" Xiao Yang said slightly, and then nodded. "What do you think?" Xiao Yang turned his head and asked. "You can give it a try. The power of flame contained in this dark bat's body is no less terrifying than a practitioner with a 1-star Do-D fire attribute. And there are so many of them, I'm afraid they really can." Green Flute said. "Since this is the case, let's discuss it and start," Xiao Yang said. It's just that Xiao Yang still had some doubts about the blue and red eyes of the stone statue giant, and then his dark pupils stared at the stone statue giant's eyes. "Gudu." With a loud voice, the blue and red eyes of the stone giant clearly move. "Yep. Wait, this stone giant has weird eyes." A roar suddenly echoed in this small space. This video will end here.